Hi, my name is Daniel Barrera, and welcome to Mind and Matter. What's on your mind? An asynchronous question and answer video where I'm going to answer some of your guys' frequently common asked questions or questions that you or concerns that you guys have sent my way. So, this is actually going to wrap up our Mind and Matter video series. It's a little bit longer than your traditional YouTube shorts, it's more so of a presentation-esque type video for today. But hopefully you guys can take some important takeaways from this video. We're gonna go over some of the main points that we've talked about, really reinforce that stuff, and making sure that you guys have gained the most out of mind and matter. So let's get started, actually. So for today's objectives, again, I'm gonna answer some frequently asked questions or any concerns that you guys have sent my way. Successfully wrap up Mind and Matter. It's been a really successful project, and I'm so glad that you guys have actually made it this far with me and have tuned in to all my YouTube shorts and really showed support. And taking the time, honestly, to sign up, to be present, to be attentive, and for me to message you guys like twice a week. I really appreciate it. And today we're also going to understand and really reinforce what we've been actually the main goal of Mind and Matter is to understand that mental and physical connection between our health. So really reinforcing on that, honing down on that today and going over all the things that we've talked about in the past and reinforcing it, but not just that, tying them together, seeing how they correlate and maybe even building off of them in ways that we didn't before. So, with that being said, let's get started with our first question. Question number one. How do mental health and physical health connect when it comes to overall well-being? So this is actually a really good question, as I think one of the biggest takeaways from this project is actually realizing that mental health and physical health are constantly influencing one another. They're not separate at all, and that's a really common misconception. For example, the way we think, our stress levels, and our emotions can directly affect our habits. If you're overwhelmed or anxious, you're gonna want to might skip meals, maybe even overeat, not move your body, or struggle to stay consistent. But it goes the other way as well. Our habits affect how we feel mentally. Like things like eating regularly, getting movement in, or even just having structure in your day-to-day life can improve your mood and make stress more manageable. When you know what's coming, it'll be easier for you to tackle it, and it always will be the case. So it's really good having that structural organization, and it will take a load off of you in ways that you can't even imagine. So it's really just about understanding the cycle or understanding the fact that there is a cycle and how thoughts influence habits, but habits also influence your mood. And that's why overall well-being isn't about choosing one or the other. It's about understanding how they both work together. So that's kind of what my bridge has been with Mind and Matter, really conjoining mental health and physical health and bridging that gap that is honestly way too prevalent in our society. So, question number two is asking, what are some things people can start to notice about their eating habits? And this is also another really good question. I think the first step is shifting from judgment to awareness. A lot of people look at their eating habits and immediately label things as good or bad, but that usually just creates more guilt for yourself rather than a sense of understanding. If I think, oh, I'm gonna go get, like, for example, I'm gonna go buy McDonald's and I've been eating McDonald's for like the past week. And I'm just telling myself, McDonald's is bad. McDonald's is bad. Why have I been doing this? McDonald's is bad. That's gonna get into my mind, and I'm really gonna feel like guilty about myself. Like, why have I been eating McDonald's for this past week? Why, rather than understanding, oh, like why McDonald's is bad, why I shouldn't be doing that, which is more easier to segue into constructive changes that will lead to a different lifestyle. So maybe if I'm understanding, oh, I understand what I'm putting into my body when I go to McDonald's, so I'll try to maybe lower it and maybe eat home more often than going out to buy food and just staying away from it. So it's really about the difference between understanding and being able to learn from it rather than just making yourself feel guilty. Because at the end of the day, if you label something as bad, you're not really gonna learn and take much away from it other than it's bad and I've been doing bad and I am bad for that. So it's really about understanding and learning. Instead, start to ask questions like, am I hungry right now? Or am I eating because I'm stressed? bored, or just because I'm used to eating this all the time. So that way you can start noticing patterns like maybe you might snack more, or maybe you might eat out a lot more than you thought, or eat differently when you're stressed in certain environments. Even something as simple as doing a quick check-in before or after eating, like how you physically and mentally feel, can help you understand your habits way more clearly than you might think. It's not really about changing everything right away because that's not really realistic either, but it's about noticing what's already happening and what's happening and how it's happening. So moving on to question number three, it asks, how can someone start to build a healthier relationship with their body? So this is actually another really good question. I think a big shift here is moving from criticism to respect. A lot of people feel like they have to love their body and to treat it well, but that's not really always the case. You don't have to necessarily love your body to start taking care of it. You just need to respect it. So it's a big thing to respect your body and feel comfortable in it, really, too. It might be difficult, and of course, it's easier said than done. I myself have had difficulties with this as well in my past. So I completely get that it's not an easy change to do, but it all starts with taking steps to loving oneself and accepting oneself. And really, it's a big part of self-talk. The way you speak about yourself matters more than people realize or what other people might have to say. If your mindset is based negatively, like working out because you feel guilty or even restricting yourself to certain things because you feel like it's bad, like way too often, it's gonna be really hard for you to stay consistent. You're setting unrealistic goals. Like if you cut something off completely, it's not gonna be easy to just make that switch from one day to another. But when your approach comes from support, like wanting to feel better, wanting to have more energy, or taking care of yourself, it becomes way more sustainable and less of a hassle, but more so something that you really are doing for yourself. So it's not really about forcing that change onto yourself, but more so about creating an environment where change can last and happen. So it's really about nurturing that change and being able to make that change for yourself, that you'll start building a healthier relationship with your own body and really start beginning even better by yourself. So moving on to question number four. It asks, how can people navigate setbacks or moments where they feel off track? So when moving on to sustainability and more so consistency, I think one of the most important things is normalizing setbacks. Everyone experiences them and it's a part of the process. It's like the cliche you hear. You can learn from your failures. And that it really is true. I know it's a really basic quote or it's a really basic saying that people say that failures are necessary to learn, but it's really true. The problem is when people fall into an all or nothing mentality, when one day off turn will turn into a bad, I failed, so I might as well give up kind of day. And that's all we're trying to get at. We want to build goals that we know we can maintain and we'll know we'll have for a good period of time. So instead of trying to start over or just give up as a whole, it's more helpful to just focus on the next small action you can take to bounce back. Like, what's one thing I can do right now to get back into my routine? Because consistency isn't about being perfect, but it's about being able to come back after things don't go as planned. Being able to really come back and not tumble or fall just because something didn't go your way. If you really overthink it or overcorrect yourself, it might actually be counterintuitive and you might not end up sticking with what you originally planned. So it's really about setting those realistic goals, but also setting those realistic expectations. Life happens, life gets in the way. It's completely normal. We all have our different lives. So it's about how we go about or how we respond to the different changes that we have going on that really makes a change. So again, it's really important to underline, I believe, that setbacks aren't your failure. They aren't even your enemies. They're just moments where you adjust, learn, and keep going. So moving on to question number five, what does sustainability actually look like when it comes to health habits? So sustainability isn't about choosing health habits that are realistic, that apologies. Sustainability is about choosing health habits that are realistic, not perfect. There we go. A lot better. So a lot of people try to follow routines that only works when they're super motivated, but life won't always be that way, unfortunately. Motivation is a good energy booster and it might make you feel like, yes, I want to go to the gym today. I'm super motivated. But what's going to happen if you're made a plan to go start going to the gym 3 times a week. And one of those days, day two even, you're not motivated anymore. You're gonna want to drop it. And just like that, you're not gonna want to do it. So we really can't rely on motivation to get us going because we need to maintain that consistency whether we're motivated or not. And this is where it really comes to understanding that your sustainable habits are going to be flexible. They're not going to be like that cutthroat kind of thing where you have to be motivated to go, but it can adapt to your energy, it can adapt to your schedule, and your habits should even adapt to your bad days. So it's really about setting those realistic goals for yourself that you know you're going to be able to meet no matter what. But the big part that plays into that is that these goals are also going to be simple. So because they're simple, it'll be easier to stick to it for the long run rather than the more complicated you make yourself the goal, the harder it is going to be sticking to it. So if something only works when everything is going perfectly, it might not be as sustainable as you might think. But it also like something sustainable would also work on low motivation days. And then when you notice that it's possible that, hey, I can go to the gym even though I'm not motivated, and I ended up doing that, that you can actually realize that, hey, this was actually a really good goal and it's really, really realistic for myself. And that's what actually leads to consistency over time. I will actually link a different article at the bottom of this video that is about health benefits of having this sustainable living and how it might actually, so you guys can do further reading on how setting realistic goals for yourself and having those sustainable lifestyles will actually help you in the long run. So moving on to question number six. Uh, what role does sleep play in overall health and daily habits? So this is where actually I would have loved to transition to my fellow intern Macy Thompson, but unfortunately she could not be here with us today. Her whole passion project actually relied on Spring Forward to Better Sleep, I believe, and it's a whole sleeping initiative that she took forward. And it was a really, really good project, and I would have loved to have her since she is well versed in this topic. But unfortunately, she's not feeling well as uh so she cannot be here with us today. So I will just be taking over her segment. And sleep is honestly one of the most important but overlooked parts of health. It actually affects everything from your mood, your stress levels, your energy, and your decision making. If there is one thing I can stress right now, is that sleep is so underrated, considering it's the first thing that we as people tend to sacrifice. So when you're sleep deprived, it's a lot harder to make good choices that support your health. You might feel more stress, you might crave certain foods, or you just might not have the energy to stay consistent with habits. So sleep really is that foundation that sets up that good lifestyle for you. And when your sleep is off, everything else really becomes harder for you. So it's really worth prioritizing your sleep and not sacrificing it no matter what. And at the description of this video, another resource that I will provide from the American Heart Association actually is their article Sleep Better with Healthy Lifestyle Habits. And it's really just an article giving you life advice on the different things that will help you catch better sleep. And they even have a section called Tips for Better Sleep. Try these ABCs to catch more Z's, which is a little section about how to improve your sleep quality, you improve your sleep habits, and really prioritize it as it is one of the most important things that affects both your mental and your physical health. So moving on to the last question for today, question number seven. What are some key takeaways people can carry forward from all of this? So one good key takeaway that you can take from Mind and Matter as a whole and this whole presentation and all of our YouTube shorts is that health is not all or nothing. And I'll say it again just to really, really dig it in our mind. Health is not all or nothing. Small habits add up over time. Even if it doesn't feel significant in the moment, even if it feels like, is it really amounting to anything at the end? Yes, it is. Awareness is one of the most powerful tools that you have. Just understanding your patterns is where you start to create that change. When you notice something is off, you're able to make the change, make that difference that will ultimately lead to a healthier lifestyle. And most importantly, consistency is way more important than perfection every single time. There are going to be periods of times that you might give in. There are going to be lapses, but that's normal. As we said earlier, your failures are not your enemy, but and rather than seeing your failures as failures, it's more important and helpful to see them as learning opportunities. It's part of the process of just figuring out what works for you and who you want to be and what at the end of the day is going to be long term for you. So thank you so much for listening. At the end of the day, Mind and Matter is a project that really showed me that well-being isn't about doing everything perfectly, but rather it's about building healthier habits that actually fit your lifestyle and your own personal and work, school, your whole life encapsulated as a whole. And just being able to come back to these long-term goals every single time and not tumbling no matter whatever life may throws at you. So that balance between your mind and your body is what really creates that long-term change that will drive you to see success, feel better about yourself, and overall create that understanding that is necessary for learning and growth. So I really hope that you guys appreciated this Mind and Matter video, and thank you for sticking this long throughout. I'm really grateful that you guys have allowed me to guide you throughout this healthier lifestyle journey. And hopefully you guys took a couple things away from this. And I am Daniel Barrera. It has been an honor spearheading Mind and Matter for you guys. And thank you so much for listening.